know, the number of COVID-19 cases are on the rise. Not only that, we're breaking records, and the fall is expected to be even worse. And that's why doctors are urging those who have had COVID-19 to take part in a clinical trial, because so many people are going to be facing the daunting reality of them being diagnosed with coronavirus. Joining us now to talk about how we can help right here in Tucson is Dr. Anita Coley. She is an infectious disease specialist. Good morning, Doctor. Great to have you here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You know, it is a stark reality what we're facing right now, and we know that the numbers are continuing to grow up. So tell us why taking part in a clinical trial for those who have already had COVID-19 is so critical to getting a hold of this pandemic.
So what we're looking at here at Arizona Clinical Trials are novel treatment options for patients with coronavirus, those who are actively infected with the virus. There are a variety of medications that have been developed to treat patients, to try to make their symptoms better, to make their viral shedding, that is how much virus they're actually passing on to other people less, and to just try to make their overall symptoms better, prevent hospitalizations. People may have heard about some of these medicines. One of the most talked about medicines is remdesivir. It's already available for people who have been hospitalized, and it's been shown to reduce duration of hospitalization and symptoms. There's another medication made by Eli Lilly, a monoclonal antibody. It was recently approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration under an emergency use authorization for the treatment of patients with COVID. We have these medications here still in clinical trials for patients diagnosed with COVID. And our goal is to help generate the data necessary to get their full approval.
And they know what it has been like to deal with this disease. So I would imagine that people would be apt to help other people who are unfortunately going to be diagnosed. What is the study like? What can people expect if they want to participate?
Sure. So if you've been diagnosed with COVID, or if you have symptoms of COVID, you can come to our office. We're able to test you here and then offer you treatment options that are in clinical trial. Again, these monoclonal antibodies or antivirals like remdesivir that are being studied for treatment. The preliminary data on how efficacious these drugs are has been very promising. Prelim data has shown these medications can reduce viral shedding, reduce symptoms, and make people better faster. So when we started this program around clinical trials for the treatment of COVID about 4 months ago, we didn't have all this prelim data. Now we've got the data. It shows the medicines are preliminary, efficacious, and safe. So we're happy to have these clinical trials still here for treatment. So again, when patients come in, they'll be tested for COVID. If they're positive, they would receive treatment, and then would be followed for 30 days to see how much, if they're getting better and how they're doing. So we follow patients very closely when they're on trials after they've been treated.
Are you looking for a specific group? Are we talking about different age groups? So who can participate?
So anyone over the age of 18 that either has symptoms of COVID or has been diagnosed with COVID, again, can call us and we'll talk to them about all the treatment options available here in clinical trials for them. Again, we're just so excited because there's been a lot of public data released showing these medications are preliminarily efficacious. So we think it's a great resource for patients here in Tucson. We look forward to, finishing up these trials and hopefully getting some of them to full approval based on preliminary data. Obviously, the studies have to be run. We have to see whether they're working, and then hopefully we'll have some great treatment options for patients that are widely available here soon.
How would you rank this in the overall assessment of making sure that people are properly treated and that we can get a hold on this?
For the time being, for people who have not been hospitalized with COVID, for those who are still at home and who are still sick with COVID, but again, not hospitalized yet, there are not really effective treatment options that are widely available. So clinical trials at this point are the only way to get treatment for non-hospitalized patients. So I put it pretty high on the list of potential options for patients because, in general, when you're infected with the virus, we always recommend supportive care, meaning rest, eating good food, drinking a lot of fluids. But in terms of medications, we don't have anything for COVID patients who've not been hospitalized outside of clinical trials. So I think this is the best option for anyone looking for a treatment option.
Anything else you want to add that people should know about?
I mean, we're obviously very excited to have medications here in clinical trials for treatment of COVID. Again, the data looks very promising. Hopefully, within the first or second quarter of this coming year, we're going to have a vaccine that is widely available to help prevent infections. But therapeutics, that is, treatments for people who are actively infected, are always important because even when we have a vaccine, there will still be people who get sick who will need medicines, and these clinical trials are a way to access them for right now. So we encourage you to give us a call. We'll talk to you about the different options. Clinical trials are a great fit for some people, not for others, but I think it's always wise to learn about what is out there.
Doctor, thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for spreading the word.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
So if you or someone you know has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and are interested in participating in a treatment trial, you can call Arizona Clinical Trials at 520-445-4000. You can also check them out at azclinicaltrials.com/COVID. Also, there is compensation for participation.